The Independent Examinations Board has achieved an overall pass rate of 98.31% of the 2025 National Senior Certificate Examinations, marking the lowest since achieving 98.06% in 2020 and 98.47% in 2024. 89.12% of the candidates who wrote their 2025 IEB Matric exams achieved entry to degree study, compared to 89.37% in 2024. 7.83% qualified for diploma study, compared to 7.56% in 2024. I know it's a lot of numbers, so let's talk you through all of those. And joining us in studio, we've got Confidence Dikgole, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Examinations Board. Good to have you. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us this morning.
It's good to be here, Leanne, and thank you for having us, and good morning to the viewers as well.
Yeah, and congratulations to everybody that has written these IEB exams. I mean, I know we're talking about a slight decrease, we do realize that, but still, I just think it's important that we congratulate every single one of those that have written.
Absolutely, and I like how you're framing it. If you look at really statistical performance, or performance statistically, you'll see that that decline, it's not even a decline, it's a slight decrease, as you're saying. Yeah. And I think it's good to frame it within a particular context, noting that the IEB has been growing and growing significantly. And so if you consider that even despite the growth, and by the way, the growth is also it's a universal phenomenon, but as soon as you begin to see growth in an assessment system, you expect to see those fluctuations in the results, and it's a normal phenomenon, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm reading into it is, are you attributing that slight decrease to the growth? More students, obviously, that leads to very diversified results. I mean, is that what you're looking at? Are you concerned in any way?
We're not concerned. We're not concerned because the IEB is managing growth exceptionally well. And it's the nature of the IEB being very inclusive. And so if you look at the fact that we have a mixed sort of cohort of brick and mortar schools, and we have online schools as well. And, the landscape is really changing. And so, as you say, the cohort is slightly different, but that the learners were able to adapt despite all of these changes, it's really remarkable and commendable.
Yeah, I do, and I say congrats, and especially having met some of the top achievers that came and visited us in school. I mean, we are, all of us, blown away by the level and the standard that you're seeing in the youth of today. I mean, this has got to tell you something about our education system. Obviously, you need a lot of assistance from parents. It's the village, the teachers, the parents, the support structures, but the kids themselves that are of a level that I must say is exceptional.
Listen, these kids, they just don't stop blowing our minds. Yeah. I mean, if you consider that, look, the previous years we would be talking about COVID-19 and its impact on teaching and learning, but I think we've shifted from that. And I think we can confidently say that the class of 2025, they had their teaching and learning within a fairly stable sort of system. So what they have had to deal with is really not disruptions as such, but having to adapt to, as you say, to changes that are happening around them. And one of the changes being the influence of digital technology, generative AI, and all of that, that actually does assist teaching and learning in the classroom. But when you sit your exam, you don't have that in front of you. But they were able to do so well despite all of that. Yeah. So the learners have really done very well.
I want to dig a bit deeper into the bachelor pass rate, because that's something that we can see, again, marginally lower when we look back at 2024. What trends or challenges are you seeing in the level of degree entry performance, and particularly when we look at subjects like mathematics and physical science? Because those are the ones that, there's always a major emphasis that we need more of our learners to excel in these kinds of subjects.
Absolutely. And again, looking at the bachelor pass rate, which, as you correctly say, is sitting at 89.12 this year, it's much higher than the 2023 bachelor pass rate. Yeah. Okay. And as I said, these learners having attained this despite the adaptations that we spoke about earlier on that they had to deal with. And also, the thing is, when we're looking at the overall pass rate like this, it doesn't quite give you the accurate performance per subject. And so when you look at performance in mathematics, you mentioned mathematics, these learners did very well that offered mathematics. And so the overall bachelor pass rate of 89.12 is exceptionally good. It is. I mean, to consider that the number of candidates will be able to access university studies, of course, barring different faculty admission requirements.
Yeah, yeah. Again, excelling there. Diploma entry rates also increasing slightly, which is a nice number. So from 7.56 to 7.83%. Does this suggest anything about learner subject choices, assessment standards, perhaps preparedness for further studies? Let's perhaps look at that now.
And I think this is where perhaps I should talk about the kind of support that learners get through the teachers. The IEB works very closely with teachers, where we offer a range of courses, and these courses are really to capacitate teachers to make sure that they're able to prepare learners for not just the exam, but even the world beyond exam. And so the range of courses that we offer, they differ from, you know, dealing with anxiety in mathematics. Mathematics is really not that scary, and if learners are able to understand that it's not and it's doable, they can do it. Offering sort of different assessment strategies that then teachers can be able to adapt and be able to impart when they do teach their learners in the classroom. Yeah.
In terms of the IEB and any changes or innovations that you introduced this year, or perhaps looking forward, what are some of the changes? I mean, we're living in a different world. We know that there, and one thing that is quite important is the different learning subjects and the different subject choices that you see that learners are able to take to fit into this new world, because it is a completely different world and we all know that. But any changes that we are seeing the IEB system actually making?
Yeah, so I think the fact that we've been able to ensure that our assessments adapt to the changing landscape that I referred to earlier, particularly the influence of generative AI and so on and so forth. And so we've been able to take our teachers along in terms of understanding how AI can be used to enhance teaching and learning. I mean, the best thing you can ever do is to work alongside with AI and not look at it as something that is just something that is a no-go area. So we've developed several guidelines that have been able to support teachers in ensuring that they assist learners in doing that. We've also launched a platform where learners can, you know, sort of do a practice in terms of questions, and not only question papers, but question by question, and even honing deep into the cognitive demand of questions, the level of difficulty of questions. So there's a platform that the IEB launched at the beginning of last year that is useful for that. And on the platform as well, learners are able to access such a section that talks about career guidance.
Brilliant.
So it shows them, for you to do, if you want to do this particular career, to follow this particular career, this is what you need to be doing in terms of the subject choices and all that, and so on and so forth.
That's fantastic. It's a brilliant tool to have. I want to ask you about a debate that obviously has been on. It's not new, it's something that'll continue, but it'll be interesting to see your perspectives on this. And that, of course, is the public discussion between the differences between IEB examinations and the Department of Basic Education. And there are quarters that call for a united and unified examination system. Where do you stand on this?
That's a very interesting question.
I know, I'm throwing something at you because it is questions that people ask.
It is. And I think really the starting point would be to say that, to acknowledge that the examination that the IEB writes is premised on CAPS curriculum, the minister's curriculum.
Correct.
And so is the DBE exam on CAPS. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to know that all these exams, regardless of which exam body you sit, the exam body that you sit the exam of, are quality assured by Umalusi, ensuring that the standards are comparable across the assessment bodies. So really, and it would be really unfair to begin to talk about comparisons. We're talking about systems that are not the same, that are not equal. The DBE deals with huge systems. And so, but what really is important is that each of the assessment bodies has their own quality assurance systems in place to ensure that they run credible exams that can really withstand whatever challenge that they may face during the examination. So the comparison really, it doesn't take us anywhere.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, it is something important to look at, and perhaps we can even look at it at a later stage and speak to it, to whether a unified education system with everybody writing the same exam, whether it be independent schools or not, you know, that's a conversation, I think. Is it being held? Is it something that is going to perhaps happen in future?
The conversation is being held, and in 2024, I was invited to the DBE Lekgotla, where this particular topic was addressed. And we made it clear that, look, we should be focusing on teaching and learning and the quality thereof in the classroom. We cannot fix the education through the examination, and that's what is important. Right now, we have the exam offered by the DBE and IEB and this other assessment body. Yeah. And by the way, there are independent schools that write the DBE exam, so there's choice and options that schools can go to. And so we have, if we talk about a unified exam system, it would be denying learners of choice that our Constitution affords them. And this choice exists the world over. And so South Africa, if we were to move into that, that would be a short-sighted move. And as I say, you go the world over. In fact, in South Africa, we're taking 3 assessment bodies. You go to US, UK, they've got multiple assessment bodies. And it's just about what really is suitable for candidates, particular candidates, and they can go into that particular exam system.
Well, listen, whichever way we look at it, we commend the class of 2025. They've done incredibly well, and we're really proud of them. But talking to us about the release, of course, of we're waiting for the actual release of the results, but we have got the bigger picture of how the Independent Examination Board did, and an exceptional year that they had, 98.47% pass rate that was achieved. So thank you so much for being with us here on the program. I beg your pardon, let me see, I think I read the wrong figure. It was, yes, 98.47. That was in 2024. Yeah. What did we get this year?
98.31.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, got it. There we go.
Statistically negligible. Really.
Exactly, exactly. I know these numbers are killing me here. Thank you so much.